Seraphim 17 once again. This is my Metro Last Light Ranger Hardcore difficulty video walkthrough. We're on chapter 18, this is the Undercity, and we're back with some familiar faces who are being chatty Cathys right now and telling us some interesting exposition, but we're not really listening because we're looking for our next fix of ammunition and claymores and whatever else you can fill up on, and I recommend that you do, because we've just used a lot of our decent stuff on that previous boss fight, and there's another boss fight coming up that doesn't really require you to do that much damage to it if you do it correctly, but there are quite a lot of the, are they called the Watchers, the feral kind of crazy looking monkey dog things, and you're going to be killing a shit ton of those. So what I would recommend is getting a shotgun that you like, a shotgun that you're used to and you can reliably use efficiently, so that you can take on these next few encounters with little ease. But there is a quiet moment before the storm. I'm going to trim out as much of it as I can, because this walkthrough is intended to pretty much get you through the game in a nice swift capacity and skip all the nonsense and all the interesting stuff you can do if you choose to do so. I do apologise if my throat or my voice sounds a little bit laboured or restricted at this moment in time, but I have a wicked infection in my throat, which is not the end of the world. It just can make speaking at length to yourself like some kind of crazy man quite difficult, as I've found out. But there is the explosion, here comes the inevitable betrayal, and this is the edit to being able to control Artyom. So we're going to be chasing the trails of the people that left us, all the way through the catacombs of this church into some pretty interesting places. And I do think this has got great atmosphere, this section of the game, and I do think it's an intriguing moment because they keep talking about this beast, and it reminded me of Resistance 3, because there's a creature on that hangs about some catacombs of a town, and it's called Satan. And I like the religious, allegorical wordplay of things. I think it's quite interesting, and this reminded me a lot of that. One of the downsides perhaps to this sequence, aside from it being fucking dark, I mean, look at this, wow. Every time I come back to these videos I'm reminded of how dark they look. So if you want a good way of being able to see them even though it is ridiculously dark, I recommend the highest quality you can possibly watch the video in and the biggest screen. So go full screen and it should hopefully help you, because the tiny YouTube screens are not going to help too much on these moments. But the detriment to the atmosphere here, and the detriment to the game, in my opinion, is the fear syndrome, is what I call it. And if anybody played Fear, there was a character in Fear called Alma, who was this little girl who was used as a plot device, and occasionally to add suspense and add jump scares and to scare the player. But the biggest problem with this is, apart from maybe two instances, one at the start involving fire and one at the end involving, touch of death, she was never a threat. So the first time you played, you were afraid of this presence and you were afraid of this character, but you were afraid of them for the wrong reasons. You were afraid because the game told you to be afraid. And then when you played long enough, you realised she doesn't do anything. She can't hurt you. She's just there to intimidate you and to get those early, inexperienced jump scares. And once you appreciate and you understand this, the fear is gone. And that's what this game has on this moment. On your first path through this area, you're going to get some really intimidating moments of these flashbacks with these people stood around in these shape-shifting forms, and there's a lot of tension. But then you realise that there's a handful of combat sequences and everything between it is nothing. It's just wandering and exposition. And regardless of how scary or intimidating it might look, you're not at harm's risk. You don't take damage. Your life's never at threat. Oh, and this bit here as well. Make sure you do the quick time event or you do die. I thought I was done when I saw it go into the canned animation, so I was looking over to the capture software and to whatever TV program I was probably watching at the time, and I ended up getting pulled off the edge and killed by that dude. So be very careful there, folks. But this game has that in some instances, and I think most horror games do, and I've been thinking of ways to try and change that paradigm and how we can make it shift so that there is a prolonged state of fear on replays, And one of the things that I was thinking of is something along the lines of the director from Left 4 Dead, where each time you play it, he directs it a little bit differently. You know, there are a handful of presets, but it's subtly different and subtly changed. And something that I find really interesting from reading about the new Dark Souls that's coming out next year is they're wanting to get rid of the arbitrary path through a level where it's, you know, beginning of level, arduous tasks, then there's the inevitable boss, checkpoint, conquering, and then moving on to the next place where you do the same, you know, 3-step process again. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it so that you can fight the boss midway through the level and kill it if you're good enough. And this notion of the bosses roaming the level as opposed to being this, you know, static objective in the distance, and combine that with the director, and you could definitely get a prolonged state of fear. I think so anyway. But I think that's advanced AI. I think that's, you know, something that will probably be very complicated to compute and pretty tough on the system. So it's something we're probably only going to see as the gradual evolution of games happens in this next generation that's coming next month. So it'll be interesting to see if they achieve it, and I am excited. I might not be excited for the next generation or the games that they've shown, but I'm excited at the potential of it. And I never got an Xbox 360 or a PS3 until long after they'd been released. You know, I didn't jump on them like I did the GameCube because I wasn't as interested. And when I eventually got one, I was a little bit behind, but at the same time, I think I got it at the right time because I was excited and I wanted to play it. And I'm probably going to do the same with the next gen. It's just the YouTuber in me thinks I should probably get one regardless, but I don't know. It's like Grand Theft Auto 5. At this moment in time, the only thing that you're seeing on YouTube is Let's Plays of Grand Theft Auto 5, walkthroughs, you know, tip videos, trick videos, all sorts of videos on that game. And I put a few videos up, and I am going to do a kind of discussing Grand Theft Auto 5 live commentary play session, because I just don't know what to do with the game, and it's not really my kind of game at all. You know, I've played it, it's great, I finished it, I had a lot of fun with it, but, you know, there's nothing there that keeps me as interested as it does to a lot of people. And the multiplayer's not active yet, which is what I really want to delve into, because that's the bit I'm interested in. Oh, by the way, guys, if you move over to this plank when I'm sat behind, the enemy AI has such a tough time hitting you. They do that little sidewalk shuffle around it to try and get to you, and it enables you to take your time, plant your shots, and kill them with the shotgun. But the logical part of my brain, anyhow, is to put up Grand Theft Auto because it's hot and it's interesting and everybody wants it right now. But at the same time, there's going to be people a little bit like myself who perhaps don't care as much about it and would like other things. You know, I haven't touched Grand Theft Auto for the last 2 to 3 days because I've been playing Kingdom Hearts, and Kingdom Hearts is a game I played back in 2002, and I played it to death then. Yet there's a fondness for that game, and I would rather play that than Grand Theft Auto 5, which to some people might sound insane, and that's not me saying that I think it's a better game, because I know it's not. You know, GTA 5 is a sublime game. It's not a 10 out of 10, but it's an absolutely fantastic game with so much to do and experience, and it's so well put together that it's a fantastic package. But sandbox games left me behind back on the PS2. You know, I enjoy the Saints Rows and Crackdowns and things and prototypes because there's a difference to them. There's something stupid in them. There's something, you know, that you don't generally see in a lot of these games. So that keeps me playing those. Just the, you know, not the formulaic approach, because they're not necessarily all about crime. Some of them are about, you know, the finesse of the controls and the abilities and what you do. And GTA is almost simplistic in its functions with its shooting, and, you know, in its gameplay. It drives better in this game than it has before, but it's still not the most fun driving game you're ever going to get. And, you know, compared to something like Saints Row the Third, I would take that any day over GTA 5's driving because it's just better. And then there's the shooting, which, you know, you're using a lot of identikit guns that, you know, they're not real, they're all kind of made up. And the shooting, if you leave it on the base settings, is almost like God mode. You snap to aim, you bang on a target, and it turns the shooting into essentially like a cutscene. And the first thing that I did was, you know, take that off. I put it to free aim like I did in Red Dead Revolver, and Red Dead Redemption, sorry, not Revolver. And I had a lot more fun because of it. But at the same time, mechanically, if you're wanting to play a third-person shooter, there are better games to play. You know, the combat in GTA 5, it does exactly what it needs to do. It's perfectly functional. But if I want to play a combat game, I'll play something else because I wouldn't play it. And then the lasting appeal for me is the sandbox thing. And I've never been the guy that really gets into the sandbox stuff. It's just not my genre. So as it stands, I'm excited to play it again, and I'm looking forward to getting back in there and doing some stuff. But there's absolutely no pull. And it is kind of strange, but it's the same thing that happened with Grand Theft Auto 4. You know, I'm at a level now where I can objectively look at these games and appreciate them, but openly state that they're not necessarily for me, you know. But there are a lot of people that absolutely adore them. My friend Aiden, he is the sandbox guy. You know, he's the sandbox king. Any game that gives him those kind of options, he's in love with. And I think the only ones that I'm really interested in these days are the ones that are action RPG related. Like, I love Fallout for the massive world and all the interesting stuff. I love the JRPGs. I love things like Dark Souls. But when it comes to the crime and the mobster type stuff, it's just not really my thing. This sequence here, if you sit in this corner that I'm in, once again the AI does have more difficulty rounding the corner, but it's nowhere near as safe as the one with the beam. That being said, they do have difficulty finding you, so it'll allow you to regenerate should you take any hits or anything like that. But yeah, a lot of people doing Grand Theft Auto things, and I'm doing Kingdom Hearts, and I'm happy for it. It might not be the smartest choice for my channel. It might not be the smartest choice as a YouTuber, but as a gamer and trying to pursue something that I enjoy, it's the smartest choice for me. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish up all the series as I've got going now, and I'm going to go back to one series at a time. And I have enjoyed having multiple things running, but the problem with it is my internet's worse than it's ever been right now, so it's difficult to put all the things I'm doing up at a reliable pace. And there's a lot of people that have mentioned that they want to see this or they want to see this, and unfortunately I have to disappoint these people because I can't do it. Like, this guy does, as one person who's really excited for it, one of my subscribers, so he's going to love getting these videos up. But unfortunately, this game is doing very poor on the channel, and there's many reasons for that. I'm not really going to go into analysing it. But there are a lot of people that would stop a guide if it wasn't getting views, or stop a project if it wasn't performing as expected. And perhaps that is the key to a successful YouTube channel, but I'm stubborn, and I like to finish what I start. So once I start a project and I'm committed to it, I do like to get it finished. Speaking of that, I am having difficulties on my The Last of Us no commentary, like, playthrough, walkthrough video showcase that I've been doing, because I've been getting content matches on videos, and they're usually directly related to the cutscenes, because those are the things that generally get tripped and flagged, and it's happened to me in the past. And that's one of the main reasons when I created the channel that I removed them. You know, for instance, in this game, when I'm not standing in an elevator for 10 minutes for no reason while your guys are waiting for me to move, I'm removing cutscenes. And it's a personal choice, because I know that they can be a little bit finicky. And it's to save me time, it's to save you time, and it's just to make things run smoother. But I appreciate there are a lot of people that like that kind of stuff. So, you know, sometimes that can be a detriment too. But this is the boss, anyhow. I can't remember his name, so we'll just call him Tiny. And the boss fight is pretty simple. All you want him to do is chase you, and you want him to knock down all the pillars in this room. Do not shoot him, do not waste any ammo, there's absolutely no point. Just lure him into the pillars, and don't get hit by him like I did just then. He is a bit of a curvy bastard. He will do a Roberto Carlos every so often, so just watch out for him and, you know, don't get Bartezed. But once he takes down all the pillars, he'll run away, and then you can lure him into, or you can chase after him, it's probably a better way of saying it, to get to the second phase of the fight. And the second phase is a little bit more challenging because there's enemies with him, which, you know, I'm sitting on about 90 playlists at this moment in time, which is 90 separate walkthroughs / series. And I think in almost every single one of them I've probably mentioned my opinion on bosses having lackeys with them, bosses having minions, bosses having, you know, bullshit with them. And I don't agree with it at all, because I think a boss should be able to stand on its own. You know, I can understand if you're going to have minions with it to add to the excitement, but moderate it and balance it correctly. You know, have the minions rushing you while the boss is doing ranged attacks, but don't have it all the same. You know, the boss is doing the exact same thing he was doing before, but now you've got 3 other dudes doing it too. It doesn't correlate to fun in my eyes. But this is the second phase. In here, you need him to destroy everything, pretty much. All the barricades, all the little, you know, stone walls that look a little bit like sandbags, and the pillars to the roofs and everything. The first thing I always do is kill both the watchers, or the little dog bastards, I don't know the names. And then I just do this. Just lure him like a T-Rex, make some noise, and then stand still and run off. Nice. It's really easy, guys. It's one of those things where you might get killed because every so often the game decides to kill you. You know, it happens with almost everything. How many times have you been playing a game, you've played 1,000,000 times, and something ridiculously stupid and cheesy's happened, and you've just been, how the hell did this happen? The only way this can happen is when God nods at me and says, yo dog, it's time you should die on that game, it's not fair, you've been beating this computer up, computer needs a damn turn. And it happens to all of us, and, you know, don't be under any illusions that it doesn't. And that is one of the biggest misconceptions on these walkthroughs. People think that this is one run. People think that these videos are, you know, just, this is what happened when I turned the game on. And it's not the case at all, folks. These are edited. And any person who makes walkthroughs and edits them and who doesn't tell you they're edited is somebody that's probably doing it for the wrong reasons and just wants, you know, affirmation for the skills. Whereas, you know if you're good at a game. At least I like to think so. You know, if I think I'm good at a game, I'm confident in my abilities on that game, and I'm also confident in my skill level on it, so that I don't have to go around and tell people that I'm good at it. And I think that is one of the main reasons and one of the main things that separate some players from others. And I get a lot of folks on my videos, and it has to be, you know, younger people, maybe a immaturity value there, where they're so eager to say how good they are, you know, and I can't remember it ever being that important. It's important to my friends, you know, when you're shit-talking your friends and you know, saying, I can do this, you can't do that, and you're poking them and stuff. That's awesome, because that's just the hierarchy of friendship. But on the internet, I really don't give a shit. You can think whatever you want of me. You know, I'm not here to impress. I'm here to help and entertain, and hopefully I do both of those things. But you can't please everybody, and you should never try. And this is the end of the video, guys, so hopefully it helped. And thank you for watching, as always. You are the people that keep this channel running. You are, you know, the building blocks of my empire, and hopefully it will continue to grow, and, you know, the Imperial machine will trudge forward. So, you take care now.